And we're live. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Firehose Software Engineering Info Session. I'm Marco. I'm one of the founders and a code mentor here at the Firehose project, and I'm running you guys through our info session today. So let's see, what are we going to cover? What do I want to talk about in the info session? Before I dive into that, just letting all you guys know, I'll take a lot of questions at the end of the info session, so feel free to either email them to you. A few of you already emailed me, which is awesome, or go somewhere, I think over here, or on the other side, I never remember which side, there's a chat box on the YouTube page. Put your questions there and I'll grab them at the end and answer them. Now, let's dive in. What do we want to cover in the info session today, right? So first of all, I want to talk about why are we doing this, big picture, and then deep dive into, first of all, our intro session, our intro course, what happens in there, and then talk about the full program as well. What's the transition going to be like, and what do we cover in the full program, be it the algorithms, data structures, be it the web applications that you guys are going to build, be it our Agile team project, and then talk about job prep a little too, and also highlight a little bit about why we're different than some other programs that are out there and how we're approaching the whole way of getting you from a little bit of background, the intro course, to all the way to being job ready. Let's dive in. Why are we doing this, right? First of all, software engineering is and web development is an extremely in-demand field. If we're looking about it, there's like hundreds of thousands of open positions that companies are trying to fill, right? Being in a spot that is in such high demand and having a skill set that's in such high demand is always a good position to be in. That's where we're getting you towards with our program. So the demand is there. That's a really good thing. But I think what's even more important to me and a lot of our students, a lot of our mentors, is like that this is a profession like software engineering, web development, that's extremely fulfilling, right? Creating something out of nothing, taking something, improving something that already touches like hundreds of thousands, millions of people's lives and makes their lives better. And being at the center of building that product is really, really a powerful and a really great experience. And being in that driver's seat of building it and being responsible for the core of it is something that I think, yeah, as I said before, is really fulfilling. So these are the reasons why we're doing that big picture, right? Really in demand and something that's really fulfilling. A lot of other professions I don't think have that same kind of feeling of helping that many people. Now, let's talk about the intro course, right? Let's talk about the fundamentals that we're going through there. We're teaching you HTML, CSS. You guys are going to do a portfolio page where you have a little splash page, your name, a bio about you. We're going to show different apps that you're going to build in a full program. We show some coding snippets that you're going to do. It's a lot of HTML, CSS front end, and then we're also going to dive in and tackle Ruby, right? The first programming language that we're going to dive into, and we're having several coding challenges that we get you towards solving in the intro course. That means that we actually review all of your work, right? Everything you submit to us, we have mentors there reviewing your code, giving you feedback, getting back to you saying like, hey, you know, this is how you refactor, this is how you improve your code. So you should definitely take advantage of that. If you're in an intro course already, go through, submit all the challenge sections, and we're gonna help you out and review that. And then if you submit all of them and get the thumbs up from us on your code, we accept you into the full program. Now, if you're on this info session, and I know a few of you are watching right now and have not signed up for the intro course, go do that right now. Go to firehoseproject.com and sign up and then start coding with us. And even if you're accepted in the program, you do not have to like immediately continue starting. You can choose your starting date down the line, several weeks, months down the line, if that's what works better for you. Now, we're done with the intro course, right? You went through, you got your Ruby fundamentals, you built your portfolio page, you understand HTML, CSS. Now we go into the full program. A few of you guys asked me, like, how much time do I need to dedicate to the full program? And I can take that like right in the beginning. We're looking at 20 hours a week. That's what the full program does. If you have more time, awesome. We have not had any students running out of materials. We have 900 plus hours of content on our materials, so on our platform. So if you have more time, dive in and give it a go. 20 hours is kind of the minimum for right now. Like, what do we do in the full program? I think there's kind of like these two like strands, these two tracks that are kind of interweave and get like closer and closer together. And one is web application development, and one is algorithms, coding challenges, and data structures. We're going to talk about both of them, but it's important to understand that both of them kind of point to the same goal. If I could wave a magic wand, I would have all of you immediately get to the end of that. And that's the beginning of our Agile team project, where you build something really complex as part of a team, because that is how things work in the real world. Now, let's talk about the 2 strands that get you to that point so you're ready to jump on an actual Agile team. Now, web applications, we're building several of those, and at the same time you're going through the algorithms. I start with the web application. The first app that you're going to build is pretty simple. We're taking a quote, a sentence, storing it in a database, randomly pull it out and display it on our homepage. Wrap that all into a mobile-first design so it looks good on desktop, tablet, and mobile. And then have, you can share that with your friends. They can all add their own little quotes. We made a quote generator about why you need to learn the code. People made it about Christmas carols. People made it about all kinds of other like funny quotes from movies or something like that. Somebody made it about Terminator. Whatever works, so you can customize that. That takes you a few days to build, push it live onto a server, and you get a good overview over Ruby, the Rails framework, HTML, CSS, and how that all fits together. Now, after that first week, we're going to start building a much more complex application. That's a Yelp clone. So if you think about the Yelp clone, there's multiple features that we have in there. For example, we need pins on maps, right? So we're integrating with the Google Map API to take an address, change it into latitude, longitude coordinates, pass that to the Google Map API, and get a pin back. We obviously need more features to make that a really cool application. So we got to do user authentication, right? Users can sign in, sign out, log in, set up accounts, request new passwords, all of that. We have commenting, star ratings. We have in-app email notifications. So if you customize your app, let's say it'd be about an awesome climbing spot, or we have a pizza spot or the best secret spots in New York to meditate, somebody made that. If you have those, then if somebody comes to your cool meditation, pizza, climbing spot, and you leaves a rating, then you get an email notification say, hey, somebody just checked out your spot. You should check that comment out and maybe reply to it and get that user engagement going. That's the second app that we're building, a Yelp clone that integrates with several APIs, Google Map API and an SMTP server to send the automated email notifications out. Then we go a step further and we build a 2-sided marketplace next. When I say 2-sided marketplace, what I mean by that is like we make it about an online education marketplace. So you have instructors on one side that can create courses and students on the other side that can come and purchase those courses, right? And when I say purchase, it already goes to show that there's some kind of financial transaction happening. And we do that by integrating with an API called the Stripe API. So you can accept credit card and debit card payments right on your platform. That's super important because that's a key feature of a lot of applications is to accept money. Now, because it's 2-sided and we have instructors and students, it gets really complex because now we need to track which student has access to which courses were paid for, maybe there's a free preview of some, and which they can access, and also how does the money flow through the platform, because maybe we, us as a platform owner, we also want to get a cut of some of those payments. So that is something that gets really deep into the database, and we're starting that with you right then and there in that 2-sided marketplace platform. Now that's the next app, that's the third app that we're gonna build. And we're going to crank it up a notch and go into test-driven development to build yet another web application. Now, test-driven development is kind of industry standard, right? I quickly zoom out and explain what that means. So as developers, software engineers, when we launch new features onto our platform, we always want to make sure that nothing is broken. So for us to make sure nothing is broken, we write automated software tests. Think about these tests as little kind of like helpers that fuzz around the internet and press on all your buttons, make sure all the functionality is still working. So you don't have to do that manually. Test-driven development takes it a step further. That's kind of the industry standard right now, where we're writing software tests first and then building the feature. So writing a test, if the test fails, because there's no feature yet, then we're building the feature and then the test passes. It's a different type of concept, a different type of thinking about it, but that's what the industry is doing right now, what all web developers are doing, going to its test-driven development. Learning how to write automated software tests is your bread and butter. I'm pretty certain there's very few companies that will let you build any feature on their platform without writing the tests around it. Now, teaching you that straight in like the second, third month is really important. After that, we do a deep dive into JavaScript, then we have you build another web app, to-do list, that is written with pure JavaScript. And the reason we're doing that is because you'll learn how to do an app in JavaScript without any other like Ruby Rails framework. And it really is a deep dive into JavaScript, teaching you what you need to know to get to the next level and have Ruby under your belt as well as JavaScript. Now, that's the one track of the web application, right? We have another track that goes into the algorithms, right? And that's everything that really makes you good at writing Ruby code. That's a lot of fundamentals training. That's a lot of some computer science. So a lot of that applies to the technical interview. And if you want to switch jobs, switch careers, and become a web developer, software engineer, you will be asked these questions in technical interviews. So that practice is really key to go through it. It's anything from like, if you're in the intro course, think about like the FUBAR or the Ordinal challenge, but a lot more, like we're ramping slowly up, it gets more and more complex. So we're talking about search algorithms, we're talking about sorting algorithms, right? We're talking about simple coding challenges that we start ramping it up that get more and more complex until we go into search algorithms. Now, all of that, the algorithm data structure track and the web application tracks prepares you for what we have at the very end, which is 8 weeks of our Agile team project, right? So what is an Agile team project? It is a time when you build something a lot more advanced than what you've built before, right? Think about the two-sided marketplace, Yelp clone, test-driven development, and build that together as a team. And the reason we're doing that is because in the real world, there's no developer who just codes by himself and does everything. It's always a team. There's a saying that goes, the best applications in the world, or the best products in the world are built by amazing teams. And we want to make sure that you know how to work together as a team before you're even coming out of our program, right? And so that's why this is a key part of our program. 8 weeks, you're going to be under the wing of your personal one-on-one mentor, but then you also get a VP of engineering, CTO, that's running you through your Agile team project the same way they would on their own job, on their own technical team, be it at PayPal, eBay, Product Hunt, Shopify, wherever our mentors are working, right? They're running you through that the same way. So what are we building in our Agile team project? We're building a chess game inside of a Rails application. Now, a lot of people, when I say that, go like, oh, chess game is kind of boring. Why did you choose that? And the reason why we're choosing a chess game is because we talk with our mentors, right? We have over 100 mentors on our platform. We're developers ourselves, and we were asking us and our mentors and technical hire managers, what impresses you? And what we got back is like that people can build something really complex together as a team. And when we suggested, why don't we do a chess game, they're like, oh, that's actually pretty tricky to build. Because if you think about it, so many rules in a chess game, right? Just moving the pieces across the board is hard. Checking automatically for checkmate, the castling move, all these extra rules that are in chess, and building that and writing the logic around it will actually make you include a lot of algorithms and what's called business logic and writing a lot of Ruby code inside of a Rails application. So not only do you start with the database structures and the architecture, but you need to go all the way to building something really complex that is thousands of lines of code, and you do that together as a team, right? And that gives you one of those key edges in the job hunt down the line, because if you come to me as a technical hiring manager and you're going in and you're like, look, here's what I've done. I built something together with a team. I know that I can take you, if I hire you on day one, you have high impact because you already know how you work through an Agile workflow. What an Agile workflow is, it means it's like code reviews. You get stories and features assigned. You need to pair program with people. You get your code reviewed again. You review other people's code. You know how to test your code, and you know how to push it live on the server, and then pick the next feature and maybe work with somebody else on the team together to get that live. And what you can do by that is, like, when you have that experience, you have that on your coding portfolio, you have that on GitHub, and you can share that with a technical hiring manager, and they can see within, I'd say, 30 minutes to maybe 1 minute, they can tell, here's the level of coding ability that you have. And they see that so clearly because it's exactly the same what they do in everything else, right? They will see on GitHub in what's called a pull request, which is, think about that as an organized bucket of code. They see your logic, your algorithms, they see your tests, right? Think about test-driven development that you had to do. They see the critique that you received from your teammates, on what you should improve in that on your code, right? So on line 35, I think you can take that method and make it a little cleaner, like XYZ, right? And then you see your verbal replies to it, so how well you're communicating with your teammates. And then they see your code on how you refactored, how you improved your code. And showing that is 1,000 times more valuable than like a portfolio page. It's important too, but it's 1,000 times more valuable, like seeing that as like an in-depth look. And so you're gonna walk away with that, and that's really powerful if you're getting into switching your career. So that's kind of like the program, right? We're talking 22 weeks, going through building 5 different web applications, going through the algorithm training and learning and preparing for the whiteboarding, the technical interview on the whiteboard when you solve advanced coding challenges, and also getting really good at building algorithms. And that all combines to it's the Agile Team Project, where we build something really complex the same way it's done in the real world as part of an amazing team. Now, talking a little further is like, you know, what's the job support? And I think the job support and helping you make that career switch goes hand in hand with that Agile Team Project of preparing you how things work in the real world. And then obviously, like, how do you actually show that experience that you already have, that you're a high impact employee from day one, directly to the technical hiring manager, right? So we have like, here's all the places where you can look for jobs, how to look for jobs, here's how you do things offline, here's how you network, here's what happens in the technical interview process. We're gonna review your resume, we're gonna review your entire branding of you as a web developer, right? We have a new track with some exciting partnerships coming out, but I can't talk too much about it. But a marketing team will be like, come on, Marco, this is gonna be our new cool launch. So that's gonna come out. It's like 30 new lessons that are gonna help you like figure out how to brand yourself as a web developer as well. So that job readiness, that job training track is all about like resume reviews, like telling you how to find jobs, how to network, how to go to events, how to act there, how to get those inbound leads, and also send a lot of outbound leads out. Now, I'm going to look for questions in any moment. So if you have some, put them either on the YouTube page or email them to me and I'll grab them there. I already got a few. So one was about the length of the program, right? To repeat that is like, right now it's about 20 hours a week that we ask all of our students to dedicate. We're going to have a new program coming out soon where you can have less hours per week over a longer period of time. So if you're interested in that, that's probably going to be around 40 weeks, something like that. So email me about that. I can give you more information about that. That's for people who think like, 20 hours a week or 20 plus hours a week is pretty hard for me to pull off. So if that's too hard for you, email me and we can talk about the 44-week program that we have coming out pretty soon. Now, one of the questions I just got, and I always like to address, is like, why we're different, right? There's a ton of programs out there. And I think there's several reasons of why we're different, and I like to mention them here. So the first reason, I think one of the most important ones, is the depth of our curriculum and how up-to-date our curriculum is, right? We've built our curriculum after teaching hundreds and hundreds of students at places like Harvard, Carnegie Mellon, Babson, like Harvard Business School that was, RISD, Brown, tons of Ivy Leagues, right? We flew out to Hawaii and taught a few classes there at the university there. So we taught hundreds of students in the classroom, right? And we understood how people understand complex technical material. And then we took that learning and put it into our online learning platform. And that was years ago. That's over 2 years ago. And since then, we've consistently updated and expanded everything that we have. So this week alone, we shipped like dozens of improvements to our curriculum, and we're doing that every single week. So it's a constant living curriculum that gets updated, and it's always like on the latest technology and the latest stuff. So that's just the curriculum, right? A lot of other programs don't do that. They do one thing and then they try to sell it for years. Now, the other thing is the depth of the curriculum, right? When I said like how many web applications you're building and how complex they're getting, and especially the algorithms and data structures, no other program really teaches that because it's hard, and you need to put a lot of mentorship behind that to make sure that you're actually getting the most out of it. So depth of curriculum is definitely one of the key things with all the web applications that we're teaching you, the algorithms and data structures, and then actually having a team project. And I just mentioned how important the Agile Team Project is, which means like you actually in a spot where you can land a job because you can demonstrate that you have that high impact employee skill from day one. Now, the other reason is our web developers, right? These are all senior software engineers, senior web developers from companies I said before, like Shopify, eBay, PayPal, Product Hunt, Y Combinator, Techstars companies, right? And they will take you under their wing, right? So this is a one-on-one mentorship that we're having, and combined with our forum, which is like, hey, you ever get stuck and you're spinning your wheels, take a screenshot of your error message, post it in our forum, and you get help so you can continue your learning and don't waste your time. Those two things together, and then with our weekly office hours where all of our students come together, that's kind of a really solid support system. But I think the mentors are key to moving you from one level to the next, kind of like a step equation, right? You're coding on this level, you go to a mentorship session, you end up here, and you continue going up in your skill level. And then I think last, but I guess not least, is our community, right? So we're having our students are helping each other all the time in our Slack channel, on our community pages. They're giving regular lightning talks, which you can think about mini conferences for developers where all of our students come together. They teach each other things. We have talked about continuous integration, best debugging tools, Amazon AWS, better testing, different testing tools for software testing, right? Things they learn on the job, how to land a job, how to land freelance projects, right? People are sharing a lot there. We also have 2 open source projects that are maintained by our students, so everyone is welcome to be part of those open source projects as well. And like talking about like showing experience in a job interview, during the application process, during the job hunt, like that is key if you're already part of an open source project. So again, depth of curriculum, our mentors, the one-on-one sessions that you're getting there, the entire support system, and then our student community. I think those are the 3 biggest reasons on why we're different than a lot of other programs out there. All right, any questions? We're gonna jump in, see what we can have there. Here is one. How long have you been doing this? So I said like, yeah, we've been doing this for close to 3 years now. Taught at a lot of places before. I mentioned the Harvard Business School, Carnegie Mellon, Babson. I can't remember all of them. Brown, RISD, a lot of universities all over the US, and a few, Hawaii is US too, a few in Hawaii as well. So 2.5 years and hundreds of students go through our program. I hope 100 senior software developers on our platform. So I hope that answers your question. Are you teaching algorithms as well? Yep, I said that, right? That's so one of the strengths is like the algorithm training and the data structure. So we definitely do that. Teaching you that, and we also want to make sure you apply that knowledge once you go through the Agile Team Project. So yeah, definitely doing that as well. Let me quickly check if we have some questions over here as well. It's loading right now. Okay, Chris asks me, and Jeff, what makes your bootcamp the best? What sets you apart from other online programs? I think I just mentioned that as well because somebody emailed that question to me as well. So thinking about it again, right? Depth of curriculum, right? Think about algorithm training, how important that is. Think about how constant our curriculum is updated, how many times we're gonna make changes to it, give you additional content, right? So the addition on JavaScript, building a JavaScript app absolutely from scratch is something that we've launched a month or 2 ago, and we gave to all of our current students for free, right? So you can consistently expect that, and you think about the entire support system spearheaded by the one-on-one mentorship sessions with senior web developers. These are not people who just graduated a bootcamp 2 months ago and then trying to be a mentor. And the reason I say that is because we see that all the time happening. Students come to us, and we actually have a lot of students that tried out other coding bootcamps. Anything from like Block, Career Founding, Coding Dojos, General Assembly. They were other coding programs, and now they're coming to us. T-Leave as well, and they're like, oh wow, this is a different league altogether. So they call themselves the other coding bootcamp refugees, and they're now coding with us. And I think if you look at our alumni page, if you look at the reviews, that speaks volumes. If you look at our reviews on Quora, or even on our Facebook page, we get reviews all the time. So I think they're really in depth. They're like long forms reviews that will tell you like, why are we doing so well, and why are we teaching in a different way that really helps people click, right? And that comes from our experience teaching in the classroom, and then taking our curriculum and engineering it so it makes things click for our students, right? And you notice that when you go through our program, things will start clicking, and that's because we engineered everything in a way that it suggests the right content at the right moment to you, right? Right when you're like, oh, okay, I wonder how these few pieces fit together, we're like, this is what you should do right now. Either read this post, go through this lesson, or watch this video overview session so you understand, oh, this is how all the pieces of web application fit together. Oh, here's that algorithm explained from a different point of view with another solution that what I just did. And that goes through our entire program. So if you're looking at, like, you're building web applications, you're submitting them, there's a code review, and we review your apps the same way we would review them in our own internal team, the same way the mentors would review a feature at their job, right? So you're getting that consistent feedback on how to improve and how to get better. So Chris and Jeff, I hope that that works. So Chris is already good, and I can, James has a question, and I'm talking about coding bootcamp refugees as well, because we're actually doing something where we're teaching refugees. I'll talk about that right now. James, then I'll get to your question. So we actually, that's something, I don't know if too many people know about that. We're actually having, using our learning platform to teach refugees in Europe that are fleeing from Syria and trying to get refugee status all across Europe. We're teaching them how to code. We have a partnership with Refugees on Rails, and they're having, like, I think, hundreds of students using our platform right now to learn. And that's a lot of work where the locals come together. We have on-the-ground programs in Berlin, in Paris, I think in Amsterdam, and Munich, right? And there's locals coming together, learning to code. We have refugees, we have local mentors from places like Google or the German version of LinkedIn, coding there together with them and getting to know them, and they're landing jobs as well. And that's part of our social impact that's totally free for the refugees to go through our platform and using all the resources. So that's something we're doing as well. So if you're thinking about other bootcamp refugees, I always think about it's like the refugees that are actually on the ground coming from Syria and other places. So it's something that I'm really happy about, that we can do that. Okay, James, how do you pair us up with our mentor? How do you find the best match? That's a great question. And so when we started out, what we had is, like, we allowed people to choose their mentor. And what happened was, like, people would just go based on a short bio and a picture. And a mentor who had sunglasses on, a hat, palm trees in the background, everyone was like, wow, I want to be like this guy. So, or this woman, or this dude, right? I want to be matched with him or her. And we were like, oftentimes these decisions were made just based on the picture, right? And now what we're doing is we actually do a bit of mentor match service, where we know the student's background, the student's coding goal, the student's coding background. We know the performance in the intro course. We know what type of questions you ask. We know where you came from. We know where you want to go. And we have that same information about our mentors, and that's where we make the matches on. Obviously, if you're not happy with our match, then we can immediately switch you to another mentor, and we can try again and see if that works better. So far, our matching has far outperformed the individual students choosing mentors based on bios and pictures. So that works really well. And as I said, again, it's a variety of variables, like the time zone, performance on the intro course, type of questions you asked, what your code submissions were like, and then especially your coding background and your coding goals. If you think about it, right, if your goal is to land a job at a bigger tech company with maybe like a developer team of 100, you would be much better off being mentored by somebody who's working as a developer right now in a bigger team, right? But if your goal is to find a job as an engineer at a startup, you'd be so much better off with somebody who is working at a 5 to 10 person startup engineering team, because that person can give you a lot more insight, can help you a lot more, right? And so that's what we're doing that matching on. So I hope that works, James. Okay, all right. Jeff, with your career resource, find jobs, so to help us network with potential employers. We're focusing right now heavily on giving you the skills and the tools. giving you introduction to potential employers is something we can do depending on which market you're in. But honestly, once I tell you how to do that, it's pretty easy to find the jobs. What's hard is to actually getting somebody to respond to you, to presenting yourself and brand yourself in the right way, because they may get a lot of applications, right? The networking in person is also really important. How do you do that? How do you find those events, right? How do you keep the balance of like in-person networking, reaching out to individual companies, and then going like on the job search engines and actually pushing out a lot of applications that way? So finding jobs, not hard. Introducing you to a company, yeah, I can give you 10 introductions. Guess what? They will interview you the same way as they would interview somebody who just sends them a resume but looks equally good by just the application. So that's not the hard part, giving you 5 introductions. That might feel good, but what's much better is like that you know actually what to do and how to reach out and do that, because that is something I can give you 10, I can give you 100, but hey, teach a person to fish, right? That's a lot better than giving you fish, and I would be giving you fish with that introduction. So we focus a lot on actually the strategies that you can implement, because that's a lot better than giving you a handful of introductions. Okay, Chris, reading your question. You can't be. Okay, gotcha. It always seems silly to teach someone how to become an entry-level software engineer when you can't even be healthcare workers with at least 3 months of training. Okay, Chris, I mean, there's a lot of demand for that, right? So entry-level, some people don't go to entry-level, some people jump straight to mid-level after our program, but it depends what your background is, right? But it's like, our program is like 5 months, and I think that's and we had it at 3 months. We realized we should expand it, so we did expand it to actually dive a lot deeper into like more algorithms, more JavaScript, and have the Agile team project spaced out a little more, and it works, right? So if you're thinking about like, this is not a regulated field that I imagine like healthcare workers are, where you're like, hey, you have to have a minimum of these hours. If you're good, people will take you because they need somebody to build new features to improve their product. So I always like would think about it from that way. This isn't regulated. If you can come in and show me that you can build it, I don't care which university you graduated from. I don't care how many hours of experience you have. I know right now I need help on this specific topic, be it web development, software engineer, and you can do the job, and I'm convinced you can do it great. Why would I not hire you? And that's how startups and tech companies operate. Okay, is Refugee on Rails something we can get involved with to support? James, great question. We can figure it out. We have an ambassador program right now where people can help other students out, because like teaching back solidifies your learning in a different way. We could think about something like that, but it's kind of hard because what the Refugees on Rails program actually wants is people on the ground, right? It's like matching locals with refugees on the ground, because that's how you build friendships, that's how you build connections, that's how you active integration work into the society. And right now, that's only in Europe. We don't have that in the US yet. But if you do that, yeah, definitely we could do something like that. What books do you recommend for people to prepare for a coding bootcamp? Chris asked that. So definitely go through our intro course, right? If you're going through, submit all the coding challenges, that's a really good sign. If you get a thumbs up from us, our intro course isn't easy. So if you can do that, go through that. Then other books, I would say Chris Pine, Learn to Program. Ruby Monk is a really good thing, good program to actually go through and dive deeper into Ruby. I think their site is down, has been for a while, so check on that. If it's down, I don't know. There's like some acquisition going on, and it's a free thing, but it's a bit silly to look in that. Hardle, you could go through. I wouldn't necessarily install a full web development environment that he recommends, but just read along and go through. Teaches you a bit about the Rails framework. But then again, I think focus on Ruby, the programming language, not so much the Rails framework. That is something that you don't really necessarily need to do. And then Learn to Program is pretty good. Cool. Let's see. James, do you recommend another going beyond your course material? Yep, there's going to be, so we have over 900 hours on our platform, right? Depending on, I know that you will put in a lot of hours every week, so there's going to be other suggestions that your mentor will make for you. So it's like, hey, deep dive into this topic, take on this algorithm book, for example, and solve these 5 chapters over here and come back next week. So it's definitely things that we can recommend, but I don't want to recommend advanced stuff right now because some people might then go and look into it and say, oh my God, I'm never going to get there. So we do that while you're in the program. I'm going to be like, hey, here's a few additional things, but at the same time, we have a lot of material on our platform. So I don't think you necessarily would run out, but there's some things that we may recommend that you could do on top of that. The book that I recommended, Chris Pine Learner Program, is a really good 30,000 feet view, right? Big overview. So that's definitely something you could start reading today already. All right, lots of awesome questions. Let me see if I got some more over here. I think we're pretty much good. Yeah, I think I answered all the questions, hopefully. If not, feel free to email me. And I'm happy to give you more answers if there's still some. So yeah, this was super awesome. I hope this was helpful. Again, keep going in the intro course. You guys are doing great. If you haven't started an intro course, sign up now and code with us. Oh, there's one more question. I was about to say goodbye and it just popped up. James asked it, how many one-on-one mentor sessions do you have each week, right? So you're going to have your one-on-one mentorship sessions that are once a week for 1 hour. We used to have them for 30 minutes and we split things up. And all of our mentors said we need the full hour because we can really deep dive. Half hour, just warming up, it's not enough. And I just talked to some of our mentors last week. So half hour mentor sessions doesn't really work. Now you get to see we have the one-on-one mentorship sessions every week. You also have office hours every week. I'm there, another mentor is there, and multiple students are there, so you can come there and get your questions answered. Also see what questions other people have and learn from that. And then during the last 8 weeks, you also have the group sessions where another mentor who acts as your CTO, VP of engineering is present. So you share that with like 4 other students and you work together with them. So you can technically get like 1 hour mentorship session, 1 hour per week, 1 hour of group sessions, and then during the end, another like mini group session, I guess you could call it, of another hour per week. So I guess 2 hours in the beginning and then 3 hours towards the end, and then you get the forum as well on top of that. So when you're stuck, you can always get help fast. So I hope that answered it. Other than that, I think we're pretty much through. Thanks so much for coming. Again, I hope that was helpful. Thumbs up for everyone, and I see you guys in intercourse. Take care.